Well, how do you increase your sensitivity to pleasure? And indeed, how do you have full body orgasms? This is something I find so many people are asking me. They want to feel more, they're feeling shut down, they're feeling numb, they're not having orgasms, their orgasms aren't feeling good. And of course, we want to experience pleasure. I mean, being human is about feeling pleasure. If we're not feeling, pleasure, it's almost like our life isn't there. Now, of course, our Western culture has told us that pleasure is somehow, at best, superfluous, if not downright sinful. When we look into many other cultures in the world, like, for example, we look at Taoism, which is the tradition from which most martial arts and also Chinese medicine has emanated, there's a huge there's a huge emphasis on actually the importance of feeling pleasure. The idea that when you feel good, this is a sign that the energy is flowing and that you're in a good state of health. So, I think it's about time that we accepted, first of all, we've got it wrong about pleasure. Because if we're sitting there and we're still in some kind of subconscious way caught up in the dynamic of believing that pleasure is a sin, basically, that pleasure isn't a good thing, no wonder we're not feeling pleasure. Now, of course, psychologically, yes, we can understand, beliefs, if I don't like men and a man comes to see me, the fact that I don't like men and I think that men are perhaps bad is going to reflect in the way that I'm able to communicate with that person. The same if I don't like dogs or I don't like cats, But then also, I think, let's have a look actually at the way that the belief that pleasure is somehow sinful, a belief that's been so long, for so many generations in our culture, it's almost, we can say, it's almost been sort of encoded into our DNA. And how does this affect the way that we act? Okay, so for example, we can take a scenario where someone's at work in the office and they feel aroused about something. And straight away, they're ashamed, they're embarrassed, they shouldn't be feeling aroused. And it starts to create this kind of messy emotions around sexuality. So, for example, then imagine we take that person and take them to their partner, and how do they feel about pleasure? Because I've actually come to realize through my work with men, even though we may have a stereotype in our culture that, men just want sex, they just want to, they're just horny all the time. What I've actually realized is that men have like an enormous fear of pleasure. So, for example, the vast majority of men will actually feel quite nervous about foreplay and even nervous about sex. Part of this, of course, is the fact there's not actually like decent and good conversation going on around sex. And without that decent, good conversation, it's very hard for people to really learn things. And of course, porn has taken over as, in a sense, the number one sex teacher. So when we look at porn as the number one media consumed by men, probably the most powerful, in fact, certainly the most powerful sex educator, and we look at the kind of sex that's being shown on porn. Now, this sex is not generally, well, it's not sex education. What it is it's porn makers, obviously they're making huge amounts of money. It's a massive industry, and the more that men are clicking and going onto those websites, or the more that people are doing that, then the more that they're basically making money out of the advertising. So what they're showing, it's not even realistic sex. It's sex that they know is going to cause you to kind of produce endorphins and adrenaline in a certain way that's basically going to, it's going to make you, let's say, like, it's going to just make you get really aroused and want to masturbate, rather than showing you, okay, this is a great way to make love. You don't really see porn with sort of hours of the man giving foreplay to the woman and close-ups showing her vagina, of them talking together, showing that they love each other, sharing their emotions, perhaps a little cry and so on. I mean, you can see that in erotica, and there's some great erotica from the 90s showing all the emotions that go with sex that I really enjoy. I find it really sweet, when it comes to pleasure, it's so important for there actually to be like a slow build up. So as I mentioned, the kind of porn sex, or sex that's basically being driven by shame and by fear, it's adrenalized, it's a rush, it's something that you're not in control of. So when you do this, essentially what you're actually gonna end up doing is just shutting your body down, if your body's not shut down already. Whereas if you really, really want to start feeling pleasure, you really need to relax. You need to really deeply, deeply relax. And essentially you need to just breathe very, very deeply and just allow your whole body to open, which means, of course, the nerves can work much better, but then also the basically the energy in your body can flow. The sexual energy, it can flow through your whole body, creating a vibration inside of your whole body. Now, I've definitely noticed with, let's say, like with clients that are complaining about this lack of sensitivity, there's definitely like a lot of emotional stuff that it can be so deeply repressed that you're not aware of it. So if you're struggling to get the pleasure you want and the orgasms you want, and you think you have no emotional stuff going on, chances are it's in there and it's just really, really repressed in there, and you really need to actually just, you know, start going in there and getting in there and dealing with this and finding a way, like a meditative practice or whatever, you know, a life process where you can start to deal with this stuff. So so definitely, like look at your body and just move your body, relax your body. It's so important. Do exercises, you know, if you run relaxed, don't run tense. Everything you're doing, just keep sending the message to your body just to keep relaxing, and then you'll just end up finding like your energy is able to flow, and as your energy is more able to flow, you'll start feeling things more, you know. And ultimately, you know, we say in Tantra, in Taoism, in Chinese medicine as well, that when we have pain in the body and when we have numbness in the body, this is because there's an energy blockage. In other words, there's emotion stuck in that part of the body. So anywhere you're having a little bit of discomfort, you're having numbness, it's just a sign you need to get stuff out. And you know, sometimes we don't even need to go into the story. We don't even need to think about what happened. You know, I find if I'm feeling in a mood and I go out and I really walk and I just move my shoulders, wiggle my hips, swing my arms, a couple of hours later, I'll just be, you know, in seventh heaven. And breathing properly, deep breathing is essential to get this stuff out of your body, as is making sounds, use sounds, sing, whatever you need to do. Making sounds is the third great way to get those blockages out of your body that are affecting your ability to experience pleasure.